episode of PJ and the Beard, we're going to be taking a look at a pedal from one of our favorite pedal manufacturers, Keeley Electronics, and the Beard's going to tell you specifically which pedal.
Right, and you picked this one. So that Leslie Sound series, the Tremolo series, the Envelope Filter series, new series coming up, but we kind of got to a point where we had gone through most of the stuff that we had obligations for,
right.
Like that things that were in series or the other things that we got in. And I said to Pat, like, hey, we need to get a couple things in. Actually, we still need to get a couple things in, but we need to get a couple things in. Take a look at Keeley's website, what jumps out at you. And you came back and said the DDR, which is drive, delay, and reverb. So three of our favorite effects,
Right.
all in one pedal. So, and I think a pedal that sparked, when it first came out, both of us were like, ooh,
right,
that is a pedal with our favorite effects in it in one pedal. So we got that in. Thanks to Keeley for helping us out a little bit with that. We appreciate them and everything they do to support the show. But more importantly, just everything we get in is great.
It is.
We're not just saying that.
Right.
We're not saying that because it says paid promotion up there. Everything we get. Why do we keep doing Keeley pedals?
Right.
So
because they've been good to us and they do sound good.
They sound great. So this pedal, let's talk features real quick. Mm-hmm. Just real quick. You have two sides. You have a dry side. You have a wet side and you have a drive side. The drive side, you have two different flavors. So you have the Screamer flavor and you have the
breaker flavor.
The breaker flavor.
I didn't mean to put those two words together. The breaker flavor.
Which is interesting. The other night when I was playing around with this, didn't know that I ended up on the blues breaker side, and you probably ended up on the
Screamer side.
Screamer side. So at one point, then you have the wet side. The wet can be either a delay or a reverb from the switch up at the top. Mm-hmm. Up positions delay, switch it down, you have reverb, come down here, and then you can get more of a vintage or modern sound. If you're on delay, think kind of more like a tape delay versus a clean digital delay. Right. If you're on reverb, think more of like a spring tank versus like a plate.
Right.
So on the side, you have two dip switches. You can't see them, recessed a little bit. The top switch goes between like regular mode and then an insert mode. And we'll show you the insert mode later, but we never mentioned the switch when we show you that. How do we know that? Because this is before that. It's a whole long story. But if you flip that switch, it's on the insert mode. We'll tell you what that does later. The second switch is the trails mode. So true bypass in one position, go the other position when you turn the wet off. If you have big delays or big reverb on, they'll just keep rolling even though you turn them off. Right. Which is nice so you don't get that like beautiful big soundscape that just goes when you turn it off. Yeah. That's the features, I think, right? Mm-hmm. Sweet. Reference time?
Yes, I have several people's favorite Strat through the Tyler PT22 or the JT22. I'm going to do position 2. Just so you know, right now, there's a little bit of reverb in the Tyler. We'll probably kill it at some point. If not, it'll just be buried under the other reverb.
Right. What do you want to start with, reverb or drive?
Let's do the drive first. And I think you can do it. It's on the breaker side now. Mm-hmm. I was going to say we could just play and then flip between the two or play and show the level of the drive. I don't know.
So why don't we do that? I'll flip it on. You start playing, I'll flip it on. We'll move the drive around a little bit, then flip it over the Screamer, move the drive around a little bit, maybe flip it back and forth a couple times. Right. Whatever. We're not going to run every... Mm-hmm. We just don't have time. Right. Well, we have time, but we're not going to.
You don't have time.
You don't have time. All right, here we go.
Definitely two different animals.
Yeah. Is Screamer side more compressed, maybe?
It's a little more compressed, and I think it has the old mid.
Okay. Because I feel like the Breaker side's a little more open, a little more...
It's a little brighter.
I'm not sure what buzzwords we're supposed to use for that. Transparent
Breaker and Screamer.
Transparent overdrive. Where do you want to leave it? We're on the Screamer side now. You want there? You want to?
Yeah, let's do that. Write that down. I turned the drive back.
All right, so we'll leave it there for now. Jump over here. We're starting on the delay.
Okay.
Is that vintage or?
That's vintage. Yep.
Okay. So on the delay, vintage. So when you're in the vintage, you hear that kind of the notes degrade, right?
Yeah.
And then when you're on the modern, you hear kind of pristine that just repeats. Is there anything you feel that we should show other than that?
I don't know. We could show the time. Roll it all the way back to the shortest time, and then hit the longest time. So the shortest time, which I found that you had to turn the blend up just a little bit to hear. That's kind of like the Dick Dale.
If we turn up just a little bit. So you can get that kind of slapbackish. And then the longest time.
Do you want to hear what they sound like with the modern?
Okay. Longest time. Shortest. Just gave it a little bit.
Right.
All right, so then if we jump up here and we flip that switch, we're down to reverb. Over to vintage. I don't know.
Spring.
So this should be more spring-like. I'm not going to get into the whole does it drip.
Right.
Yeah, and then if we flip this over to modern, then we'd be more of like kind of a plate.
I like the plate. I like them both. But truth be told, I use this live, and I use the reverb. and I used the plate, the modern side with that big kind of ambient sound, and then I put a different delay at the end, and it worked. It sounded great. It really filled up some space on some more ambient sounding things.
So that's the drive. Mm-hmm. 2 types of drive, 2 types of reverb, 2 types of delay. You get that like kind of real clean, modern delay, or yeah. You got it.
You heard it.
Yeah. All right. So, and then one other thing that I think is interesting, because I was actually thinking about it while we were playing this, that time knob, what does the time do?
On the reverb.
On the reverb. Right. And so it becomes more of like a tone control. So if I roll that all the way down. And that might be a little bright, but yeah, you get the idea. So you can make the trails, the reverb darker. You can make the reverb lighter. All right.
Just more tone shaping, sculpting. We're trying to figure out what our new buzzword for that is. Right. Shaping, sculpting.
So I think that brings the surface value, face value part of it to an end. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the insert feature on this pedal.
Which, quite honestly, I didn't really know that it had. When this pedal first came out, I was like, wow, this is great. This has like 3 effects that I would love to use, and I could put it on a board and maybe be the only pedal you take somewhere. But then I looked at it, I'm like, well, I was a 4 cable guy too with my delays. So I just wasn't sure if I would like it. But then you actually read the manual.
Yeah, well, and so, I mean, kind of the same reservation at first. Like, I looked at the pedal, thought, all right, an overdrive and a delay. If you go back to the very first episode that we ever did.
Right.
Oh my gosh. But if you go back to the very first episode that we ever did, 2-pedal challenge or something.
Yeah.
And both of us we were like, if we could only take 2 pedals, we would take
a drive of some sort.
A drive and a delay.
Right.
And so here you go. Like, this would be a great pedal for me to go to the blues jam, plug into the amp, plug my guitar in, use my volume knob all night. Wouldn't even have to turn around. Could have a little bit of delay. If there's no reverb in the amp, maybe a little bit of reverb if I wanted it instead of delay, and then, overdrive. Mm-hmm. But I was like, well, that's really great, but how would I then incorporate that pedal? So I fall in love with the pedal. How do I incorporate that onto maybe a bigger pedal board?
Yeah.
And I always pictured like having delay and reverb up by my drive, and I'm like, okay, but where does my tremolo go? And where did my Leslie pedal go? And where does, if I want to use delay and reverb, I'm going to have to use the delay on this and put a reverb after it. What if I'm in love with the reverb? Where do all those questions, this solves it. So Long story short, what we've done is you basically need to buy an extra cable or 2. So you get a TRS cable. So both of the jacks, the in and out on the pedal, are TRS jacks. And then you split those into just 2 regular guitar cables. And we've done this in 2 different ways. We have a friend's cable for a long time. I don't know that he remembers we have it. Thanks, Mac. And then, so you have this TRS cable coming out of the DDR, and it is actually going into the micro vent. And then the micro vent is going into the Donner yellow fall. And then, I have to think about this. The yellow fall is going into this rattlesnake TRS splitter. One side then is going out to this other micro vent, and then the splitter is coming back with a TRS to this. So if you go online, you can get like a male to 2 female TRS splitter, and it would probably make your life a lot easier. And maybe you get them color coded, because I had to keep flipping wires around to figure it out. Wasn't too bad. Once you have it set up on the board, it'd be great. But what this does now is opens this up for any pedal board application, I think.
Well, I guess it's safe to mention, because we just explained that, but technically this pedal is really over here. In the signal chain, it's over here.
These two...
They're in between.
Yes, these 2 pedals are in between the drive and the delay reverb side. And then this micro vent is after the pedal. And we did that so we can show you, why is this important? Why do you care?
Just didn't want you to think that this was before the drive because it's sitting before the pedal.
Right.
Even though he just explained the signal path. But looking down, you'd be like, wait, what?
So one more time.
Yeah.
Drive.
Yep.
Micro vent.
Yep.
Yellow fall. Reverb or delay. Micro vent.
There'll be a quiz.
Yes.
In the comments.
So why though? And I think that, we don't want to spend a lot of time here, but I do want to give you an idea of why you would want to do this. It's a great feature. I haven't seen a lot of other people talk about it. Mm-hmm. People mention it hey, it's there, but I don't know that I've seen anybody else actually demo it. Why? Simply, if I turn on the delay, we have a delay on it and we have a drive on it. No, reverb. We have a reverb on it.
Delay, sorry.
We have a reverb and a dry on, something like... Huge delay on it. I'm going to turn on this micro vent. This micro vent is before the reverb. Listen to the trails.
So you can really hear it hitting the reverb as I'm talking over the reverb. You can really hear it hitting the reverb and really triggering that reverb, and that's the last thing you hear.
And then the reverb's kind of going off.
Right.
Now we turn that one on.
So if you like your trails modulated.
Yeah. It's not saying that that's one's right or one's wrong. But you're modulating the trails. And a tremolo after the reverb can be very, very cool because the tremolo will modulate the trails. And you can actually, if you get the Keeley Hydra, which has a tremolo and a reverb in it, you can set it up to modulate the trails. It's an option. So it's cool. It's
over there.
Yeah, very cool. We tried to figure out how to incorporate this.
We're not smart enough to run that many features on too many pedals.
Yeah, too many reverbs.
Yeah.
But this is cool. So if I put it in between, I have the nice kind of Leslie driven. I actually really like that sound. It really reminds me of something Warren Haynes does all the time with his drive and the Leslie on. But the reverb's just, that big heavy reverb's just trailing as opposed to putting it over there and then you're modulating it. And then we were able to, I want to be able to use maybe a delay and a reverb. And I love this reverb, so maybe I want to use this reverb. So let's stick a delay in there, the yellow fall. And I'm going to turn the delay off, or the reverb off. So we have our delay, but it's in front of the reverb now.
And we have the reverb intentionally juiced so you can really hear what it's doing.
Yeah, the reverb's really... So that, I think, is the insert feature. And again, you're looking at two TRS cables that split out to two mono. So a TRS to mono. It splits to two mono cables. And there's a couple options online of things you can get to do that. If we had affiliate links, we put it in the we put it down, but we don't, so we didn't do that for you.
Not yet.
That good?
Yeah. And we did it with the reverb. You could do the same thing with the delay, but you get the idea.
Right. So I think, we looked at the pedal by itself, reverb, the delay, drives, the inserts. I think that about wraps it up.
It does.
So, always like to take a minute just to thank everybody that's been watching, hitting the subscribe button, clicking the notification bell, leaving comments down below, going out to Instagram, Facebook, any of those things. Anytime you interact with the show, it really helps us out, helps us keep bringing cool stuff like this. We've been loving the Keeley stuff. So much cool stuff from them. Please stop by the website and check out what's going on there. Should be updates soon. New series coming soon. I swear, we've been saying it for like 5 months. It's going to happen.
Depends on your definition of soon.
Probably be a big letdown. All the work footage. Like, this is what we've been waiting for, but...
We're trying not to have it be like a 90s Batman movie. That was it? Like 9 months of run-up and it was Michael Keaton? What?
Yeah, I think... Yeah.
So with that, I'm PJ on behalf of The Beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. Especially when they put some of your favorite effects in one pedal.